All right, we're live. Hello, Daniel. Today we are live with Daniel. Daniel is a developer from Noco. We work together. We've been working together for since the beginning of the year, and it's a pleasure to have you, Daniel.
Hey, nice to be here. The first time for me, so yeah, let's get this going. I'm excited.
Hopefully, the first of many. So today we'll be talking about Webflow. Since we're both Webflow developers, we'll be dissecting Webflow technically. With the technical parts. So first topic is the hot topic that is right now the GSAP, new GSAP UI that has been introduced in Webflow. This GSAP UI has been getting a lot of feedback from users. Some users really like it. Some users really don't like it. However, it's a new thing that's allowing more people to use GSAP, since GSAP was mainly code before. Now with the new addition from Webflow, a lot of people can use more GSAP and can use more animations using GSAP. In my opinion, I've tried it. I've been using it for a while. It does require a bit of a learning curve. I mean, it's not as easy as the previous system. But to be honest, the animations that comes out of it are really, really much better. Like they're much nicer. You have more, hands-on on what's going on the elements, on each element. So that's much nicer. So what do you think? I know you use a lot of GSAP, but I know you code it yourself. So from a very, let's say, hard coder of GSAP to the new system, what do you think? What do you think of how this is going?
Well, I've been actually waiting for this for a while. So, like, just when around last year, I think, or beginning this year, when Webflow purchased GSAP, I was already like super hyped. Um, what
Yeah.
I love about it is actually the layout of the timeline. So it actually looks like a professional animation software like After Effects, or even like you could compare it with Premiere or something like that. I'm not an animator myself, but if you compare the UI to it, so it's great, and you can keep track where you're at. And this is something that's obviously more difficult when you're dealing with code, because then you have to like refresh, run it again. Let's say if you're using scroll-based animations, you can enable those scroll trigger markers to know where the animation starts and ends, where you'd like to trigger it. So it's definitely like an easier kind of like introduction to GSAP. So I like this factor of it. So for kind of like scrolly telling, like very scroll intensive animations, I would say it's quite a game changer. Where I would still use code is mainly in Webflow, is mainly meant for like CMS stuff. So let's say you have accordions. So I would still use GSAP for doing accordions, or I would still use, let's say there's like an interactive tab or like a custom slider. I would still do that. The reason is that Webflow is still not keeping track. And it would be actually pretty difficult to do this in Webflow, and I think even impossible. So you'd still need to keep track of a certain active class. So when you're looking at the current class, the current item that you're dealing with, you should be running the animation only on that specific class or
Yeah.
item. So that's the use case. But other than that, like I still need to dive in. What I'm really, really curious about, because I know this should work, is triggering the Webflow, the GSAP animations within Webflow with code. So that could actually sort of like combine these two things where let's say you have a custom slider, but you've done a super detailed and fancy Webflow animation within or GSAP animation within Webflow, but you trigger it on an event, on a custom event with custom code. This is what I'm curious to dive into. Maybe we can report back sometime. Yeah.
It's definitely limited. It's definitely has its own limitations. I've made a video about it earlier this month, and I got a review from someone, a feedback from someone who was complaining about not having breakpoint breakpoint options, so they cannot make different animations on breakpoints. I've been digging into it. There are some workarounds, but you're gonna still, of course, have to use code to do the workaround.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this was, and then GSAP themselves, they commented back and they were like, okay, it's still not 100%. So they do acknowledge that it's still not at its full potential and that there is more coming to it. So they are expecting a lot more features, a lot more, customization that we can use with this tool. However, for now, given this, its limitation is still a bit challenging, let's say, or high learning curve to it. But yeah, we've all been excited. I remember as well when they announced the acquisition of GSAP. We were like, okay, of course this is gonna happen now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it finally happened. I remember there were a lot of third-party tools that tried to do something. However, nothing succeeded as much as what's going on right now.
Yeah. Definitely a new step.
In terms of performance, the new GSAP library versus the old GSAP library versus, I know they also released the GSAP activation from the settings, from the Webflow settings. So there was a way to activate GSAP from the settings. Of course, there's a way where you add in the code, the CDN, and there's now the main native GSAP interactions. So how is this affecting performance? I've been hearing a lot of mixed feedbacks on X. How do you think this is affecting performance now?
I don't know how it would work.
I don't know if you've used all of them. Have you used all of them and checked like the back end of it?
Okay, so because I mainly have experience on the code end, and also I have experience with the settings where you can like enable all the plugins. I would say the best use case is still to add it through a CDN, and it would be mainly just just for the plugins. So because the problem is that once you enable it in the settings, it's gonna load those kind of special plugins on globally on every page. So let's say you need an SVG plugin, it will use it even on a page where it's not using that specific animation. So I would definitely we can enable GSAP by default, just the base CDN, the base library, and then maybe scroll trigger. But anything beyond that, I would stay cautious and just use a CDN. I don't know how the animation library is using GSAP, but it's probably also pulling it from the front end. So even if you like, let's say you create a new Webflow GSAP animation, it already activates it by default. So even you don't need to activate it again in the settings, I guess.
So what did you mean by, you said it loads it from the front end? So what did you mean by that?
Yes, so basically like it's all client side JavaScript, because Webflow is mainly using kind of like a static framework, like almost like HTML CMSs, but all the backend is powered through their kind of CMS, right? But you cannot really be as flexible. So it doesn't work like, let's say, a Next.js or a React website, where you would use kind of like server side rendering or something like that. So it's all client side rendering, and because it's client side rendering, it adds additional load time on the website while loading it. So you're not pre-rendering it.
Yeah, I mean, Webflow, of course, puts their own tools or their own part in the websites hosted on their platform. And yeah, I think this is just a Webflow selling point.
Yeah.
But like there has not been a major, like let's say a major performance because of this on any website that has been hosted on Webflow. I don't know. I haven't heard of a major problem with that. And I think Webflow is doing a good job so far. Even recently, and we've talked about this in the last 20 minutes, we've seen the new introduction of the LLMs.txt,
yeah,
the way you can upload it. And before that, I've tried to upload an llms.txt file, and I couldn't because the Webflow has it locked, like where the main files, you cannot access those, and they're only on Webflow site, so you cannot add a new file. They do give you an options like the sitemap and the robot.txt file, but you still cannot access those files like you would in a Next.js or a React. And they recently released the llms.txt. So, and I see them recently been releasing a lot of features, a lot of SEO related, or like, let's say, optimization. They've been releasing analyze as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of SEO focused, or GEO now, as they're calling it. So what do you think of the SEO part of Webflow? How do you think the Webflow websites perform in SEO wise? I don't know if you've worked with other platforms, but if you've done, do you think they are comparing to the other platforms? Are they better? Are they worse? Do they have an advantage? Do they have something special to it?
Yeah, this is kind of a deep question. So I think
It's very, very
SEO
deep.
wise, Webflow's always been pretty good, pretty solid with their kind of native SEO tools, like be it like from the page settings, where you can just do like specify metadata, open graph data, things like this. And then also their native audit panel, where they're flagging kind of semantic order, or missing alt tags, or let's say missing area labels for accessibility. So this is all great, and it's definitely it's creating a good foundation when you're doing some like SEO checkups. But then there are like other plugins. So recently, you guys probably talked about FinSuite and how they acquired Graphite, the SEO company. So their plugin is pretty good, especially when it comes to creating schema markups. And I just recently started using it, and I actually really like it because it gives you a really good base, and you don't really have to write all of that special JSON code from scratch, and yeah, it's really great. And so where I think Webflow is like super strong at is SEO for dynamic, so blog pages or news or case study pages, or anything that like a SaaS company could be using, because you can set dynamic data. You can create your own kind of CMS field, and then load that into that specific SEO slot, be it the metadata or the even specific schema markup. And you can go as deep as even apply it to like accordions or sliders, and make it really, really specific. So the more scrollable it is, the better it is, and it's also better for SEO, SEO results in terms of LLMs.
Yeah, it's been great. The Graphite, especially, shout out to the FinSuite team.
Yeah.
Graphite is a great tool. I use it almost on all websites. And yeah, schema markups, I think they're becoming more and more important, or let's say markdowns in general. They're becoming important now that LLMs search through our site.
Yeah.
So having Webflow being able to do that dynamically, where you can put your schema markup and add dynamic fields in the markup, so that's really great, because we can just do it for like a whole blog of like 1,000 items very easily. So it's been really nice having that from Webflow. So I've wanted to bring up another topic, which is sliders. So we've talked about sliders many times, and I've recently seen one of your great sliders that you've built for the Pencil website. The Pencil website recently got released as a part of the Noco project, and it has this great slider as a header. I'm going to share a screen to showcase the slider. And then, so this slider, so we know with Webflow now sliders, they get challenging.
Yeah.
The native slider doesn't allow CMS additions. Then you have to get some libraries, third-party sliders, and then you have to make sure that you're loading them well, they're not affecting performance, they're responsive, they work well with your Webflow project. So sliders is a bit of a challenging topic. This one, however, is super great. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about it.
Well, well, this one is interesting because the challenge is running a number of things. So this slider looks like one, but it actually consists of I think at least three other sliders. So to kind of understand the anatomy and why we're using custom sliders is because custom sliders can be linked up to the Webflow CMS, so which means that the client doesn't have to touch the UI and they can just create a new slide from the backend without having to do anything in the UI, which is great. And Webflow sliders are kind of limited in that space because they're just like pre-made, and you cannot nest them into these kind of collection lists. So what we're doing here is basically we're taking collection lists and we're mapping. We're basically synchronizing the collection lists that we're intending to basically animate. So actually, now that I look at it, we have 4 sliders synced up together. So we have a video slider, it's the most obvious, the background one. Then we have a slider at the very bottom where there's a text animation happening. And then there's like a creator slider, like a little tag that's kind of moving. And then there's another one. I don't know why I said 4, but I think there are 4. Okay, but
yeah, there's the next. You have next here. So here you can skip.
exactly. That's not a slider.
And I
That's
like
more
the
of like
fact
a
that you have this part,
that's
and then
another
this part
exactly.
keeps you on the video,
Exactly. That's another list that
which
has to
is
be linked up.
yeah,
So the magic when creating anything like this is properly syncing up all lists. So and timing has to be perfect. So that's I could talk a bit more about the timing perhaps. So as you can see, there's this text animation, and we want to make sure that you see the entire text animation, that the entire text animated before we move forward to the next slide. So basically,
yeah,
we base most of the timing on finishing the text animation. Obviously, the text is sort of limited to a certain character amount, so that we don't have to like
yeah,
wait like I don't know an entire ebook to launch.
yeah,
But yeah, that's how it works.
yeah,
And yes, you've opened up this prompt model, which is quite interesting as well. So it is also linked to that specific slider, and that actually puts the slider into a new state where it pauses it while still running the
yeah,
video in the background, so it still has you on that immersive video experience versus pausing it. And you can also copy the prompt from this and actually try that. And interestingly enough, I've tested it out on Lumi. I think it's using Midjourney. It's a great website where you can like create images and stuff like that. And I tested out exactly the sculpture slide prompt, and it created like almost the same thing for me, just from a different perspective. So
really
yeah. So these prompts are great.
nice,
Like, yeah,
good prompts.
yeah.
That's it's a very nice slider. So is this a native GSAP slider, or is it using a swiper or any of the
Is it?
libraries?
It's basically a, like a custom JavaScript slider that is
Okay,
triggering different GSAP animations at each instance. So at each instance, you see this kind of zoom in, and then it starts a new video, uh, and it creates the text animation. It loads the like basically this progress bar is loading, and the new
Yeah.
creator tag is animating in. So everything is happening synchronously because we've synced up these different lists. So yeah, that's something that you cannot do with Webflow sliders, unfortunately. You could kind of imitate it, but it wouldn't be like, it would be a bit sketchy. You'd have to kind of like hard build it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a nice slider. And yeah, Webflow somehow did not manage to, or did not update sliders. I mean, they've been the
Yeah.
same since I think 3-4 years now. The same form of sliders. They still
Yeah.
cannot use CMS. There's no update whatsoever on sliders. So it's been weird, but we are managing to do this custom.
Yeah.
And I also use libraries. I know Splide and Swiper are very common to use in the community, so I also use those.
Yeah, those are
But
great. Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
great job with Pencil. I
Thanks.
really like the slider, and we've come to the end of the 20 minutes. I mean, I've had the pleasure to discuss some technical parts with you, Daniel.
Yeah,
Thank
man,
you
the
so much
pleasure is all mine. Thanks
for
for
your time.
bringing me on.
Thank you for doing this with us, and hopefully to many more in the future,
Yeah.
talking more about Webflow and what relates.
All right.
Thank you,
Sounds
Daniel.
good.
See you soon.
Catch you guys. Bye.
Bye bye.